Eid gifting in Arabic is like Eidiya. So it's basically the elders give money to the youngers. In most cultures, I think in the Middle East, it's money. And we were talking about how it's always kind of like quite slyly given. So it's kind of a subtle giving. So it's not meant to be like, money!
On the topic of Idea, there's a couple of international brands that have partnered with Emirati artists to kind of create designs.
I saw this.
Yeah.
Really beautiful designs on this kind of black and white artistry. As a kind of like giving a gift card, basically, an Amazon gift card. Probably better sometimes than money for some kids. Because my kids just lose money.
Very lovely marketing campaign.
Very clever,
they know
clever
what
marketing.
They've done. They know what they've done.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. We are going to be speaking about Snow White, Disney's new film, which is causing a bit of havoc.
And the artists bring Eid culture to the world.
This is Culture Bites coming to you from the National News. I'm Enas Refaei.
And I'm Farah Andrews.
Hello.
How are you?
I am very well. I'm so excited to be here today.
You are?
Yeah, there's just so much going on.
We were going to talk about Snow White.
Yes, the multi-million-dollar live action version of Snow White, which is Disney's 1937 first animated tale.
Is that the truth?
I think it was the first animated like actual story. They own all the rights to it.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
a complete Disney original, right?
It's a complete Disney original. Although it must have been handsome. I don't know. Anyway, it's a complete Disney original. And it's the film which started Disney on this kind of like animated storytelling extravaganza.
The fairy tale journey,
the
right?
Fairy tale journey.
Yeah.
Which they've moved away from in recent years. I think since the Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
They've definitely moved away from it more and more.
And kind of have, in recent years, they've made a lot more kind of like the Disney princesses have had very different stories. So like Brave and Frozen, they have had very different, Moana, they've had very different paths in the films. And it's a bit more representative of young girls today.
I've absolutely loved that journey that Disney. Slip. I've loved the journey that Disney have taken with this. I do sometimes, and I know I'm a girl of mums, and I'm always thinking about my daughters. I think it's great that they have that movement in their like characters. We spoke about adolescence last week. Mm-hmm. Where is the little boy who's doing great in a Disney film? Mm-hmm. Like, where are their stories? Where's the prince?
There was
the main part.
I think those do exist. There was the film. I'm not really a Disney person.
Are you not a Disney person? No, neither am I.
I'm not an encyclopedia of Disney knowledge, which a lot of people are, and I do really respect it. There was a film, I swear it was called like Leo or something.
Oh, yes. It was called Luca. And that was like about a little Italian sea monster boy. No, that was actually very sweet. And it was a breath of fresh air from Disney. Anyway,
let's go. When I was babysitting. Right, let us talk about Snow White. Basically, this film cannot win.
No.
It has been deemed, it's been washed over as like woke Disney. So we have at the very beginning, people were very angry about the fact that a Latin American actress was cast as Snow White. I do not understand why that matters.
I cannot for the life of me understand it. Like, she looks like Snow White.
Yeah.
She literally looks like Snow White. And she has like a slight brown tinge, or is it her name?
It's her name.
The way she looks.
If people didn't get a bio for this actress and they just saw posters of Rachel Zegler. So an actress called, a very musical theatre based actress, Rachel Zegler, plays Snow White. Honestly, having said I am not a Disney person, I have been to Disney a couple of times as an adult, which we can talk about another day. If you saw that actress in character walking around Disney parks, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's Snow White. You wouldn't go, oh, there is a woke hiring or casting of this actress. You'd say there is Snow White.
Yeah, this polarization over like who gets to play who. I think that the ultra right wing media is just quite disappointed that they think that, not white actors are being chosen for these kind of roles. But
And
no
then,
one was upset with Gal Gadot being chosen for Evil Queen.
I don't think that's true. I think quite a few people are upset with that. So, is it Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot? First of all, that's one of my questions. I always say Gadot like French, but I think it is Gadot.
I think it's Gadot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's not French, is she?
No.
She is Israeli. She is an Israeli actress who has been very, very outspoken with her
Support
for Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, she's Israeli. She's an Israeli actress.
Yeah.
And she was in the IDF. She served in the IDF for 2 years.
Yeah.
The Israeli Defense Force.
Yeah.
And
Israeli army.
yes.
And in 2023, she did post, "I stand with Israel. You should too." So, so I think like she's had a very, very strong stance, which, as you would expect, has divided people. But it's also kind of divided the cast because our Snow White, Rachel Zegler, is being quite famously pro-Palestine.
Yeah, she has posted "I stand with Palestine" on Instagram, and have we got the exact quote here? She basically said, so free Palestine on social media, and then she said in a Variety interview, "I can't watch children die. I don't think that should be a hot take," which I think is very much in line with a lot of what you and I think.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a journalist. I'm void of opinion.
Is that true? I don't think it's a hot take that we don't want to watch children die. So that's where she stands. That has been equally divisive because apparently that is a hot take.
So that ultra right wing media have jumped onto these two things. One being that Rachel is from a Latin background, and the second being this kind of like Israel-Palestine dynamic which is happening within the cast.
And I think that even so, at the Oscars, the two actresses presented an award together, so they're able to be in the same room. Were they chummy? I did not watch the Oscars live, so I think is there elements of that everyone just really enjoys pitting women against women? Yeah. I think that it's very possible for two women to have different. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of people that stand on these issues and just like don't want to be in the same room as the opposite side, and I completely understand that. But then they were at the Oscars together. That was less than a month ago, or about a month ago. But in response to this, I don't know. Is it in response to this? Is it in response to the fact that it's been reviewed and it's been pretty universally panned?
No.
It's got 1.9 stars on IMDb and 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. 43% isn't that bad. Like, there are films that are like 43% is recoverable. I think 1.9 stars on IMDb is very low. Is it that Disney were anticipating that this was going to get completely slated and then they've like enormously pared back the promotion of this film? Or is it because they don't think that they can have the two women in this film posing together because they hate each other so much? Well, that wasn't the case. They were at the Oscars.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is that. But Disney have enormously scaled back the promotion of this film.
It's kind of, I think for them, this was always meant to be a sure win. It's a hugely popular storyline. They've dumped loads of money into it.
It's expensive. The film...
Very expensive film.
The film collected less than 43 million on its opening weekend in the US and Canada, which doesn't cover what was spent on this film. In promotion, they had a premiere in LA, which was a very limited press pool. So it wasn't hours and hours of the stars walking the red carpet. And then they had a very closed premiere in Europe in a fairy tale castle in the north of Spain that basically only influencers went to.
Yeah, I saw some influencers going to that. I thought it looked quite like a nice.
I mean, what a lovely trip! If anyone's listening to this, and when I said I'm not a Disney adult, if anyone wants to send me to a Disney castle, I'll be a Disney adult.
Like, actually, I love it. But that's the right-wing media. Then we also have the left wing.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's upset.
So everyone is upset with this film. So covered the right wing. The left wing are really upset because as we all know, it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Well, that was the original film title, yes.
And now we've changed it, and we haven't included any actors who have dwarfism.
So back in 2022, I think the film was only announced around about then, and actor Peter Dinklage, who has a form of dwarfism, said that remaking this story about, and I quote, 7 dwarfs living in a cave is backwards. Because that is the story in the original Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. There are 7 dwarfs, and they do all live in a cave in a little mine together.
Yeah.
And so Dinklage has, he's kind of been very outspoken about that. Disney said that they were taking a different approach with this film. In October 2023, it confirmed that the dwarfs were going to be CGI. That in turn has had backlash
because people said that they weren't giving opportunities then to actors with dwarfism.
Yeah. And they were potentially costing them roles. So it was a bit of a...
They can't win.
No.
Do you think Disney's ever going to touch Snow White again? I think this is the end.
No, I think that's that.
I think that this is the end. Maybe in 10 years they will.
Well, you touch upon something I would like to discuss. People are often... There's this... I think it's an urban myth that Disney property has to be rebooted every 10 years for the next generation.
Oh.
So I looked into this.
Okay, so the myth is, or the idea is that every 10 years they have to give us the same thing.
I don't know if it's every 10 years. It's basically the idea is that every generation will have their own take on these very famous, very beloved Disney films. And it kind of tracks with what they've been doing recently. We've had reruns of The Lion King, Aladdin, Dumbo. They've all kind of been given new life. And then we also have seen it in the past where there's always an anniversary edition of a Disney film that comes out. But I looked into it because I was like, is there truth in, because I think what I had heard is it's like Disney law that Walt Disney wanted every film to be given new life for new generations, but it's complete urban myth.
It's complete lie.
Yeah. What I tracked it back to was a tweet that was basically a completely debunked tweet. It's not true. So it's a nice idea, but it isn't the case.
I do find it quite interesting. They keep doing this live action. I can't think of one which trumps the original.
Do people really, really, really love The Lion King?
I haven't seen the new one.
There's also The Jungle Book that people quite liked.
I haven't seen it either. Maybe it's just me.
I'm going to say for myself, I'm not the target audience.
I saw Mary Poppins and I didn't think it was as good as Julie Andrews.
I mean, no, but I did like Emily Blunt as
love
Mary.
Emily Blunt. Actually, if Emily Blunt is watching or listening, I interviewed her once and she was one of my favourite people that I've ever interviewed.
What a charming woman.
She's so charming. So charming and absolutely beautiful. Oh my goodness.
But I also love the stage show of Mary Poppins. Have you seen it?
No.
It's wonderful.
I hope that comes to the UAE.
It did.
It's been.
A few years ago. It came to Dubai Opera. That's where I went to go see it. And it was amazing.
It's one of my favourite films.
Very special. But I don't think it's in even the West End anymore. Anyway, we digress.
We have digressed.
Do you think you're going to go see Snow White?
I will probably wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. Or unless listen, the weather's heating up. The girls might not want to go to the pool or the beach. And then maybe we'll go to the cinema. What
a diplomatic answer, madame. By the time this comes out, we'll have a story on the website of a lot of people saying that no, they are not going to go see this film, and they are not going to see it because they don't want to see a film with Gal Gadot in it.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to see it.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to bait you there into that wasn't a trick.
I mean, with all the different swarming opinions on this film, I was just like, maybe I should see it for myself and decide. But actually,
there are people in our newsroom that have taken that stance, and I respect it. Me personally, you haven't asked, but I will tell you, no, I will not go and see it. But mainly
because you're not a Disney fan.
Yeah, I would love to say it's because of my principles. My principles are guiding this. It's because I'm
not a Disney fan.
Not that buzzed about it.
Well,
I don't even know if I'll watch it. When I'm next babysitting, I'll be like,
okay.
Fine. You don't want to watch a Bluey. I watched that when I was babysitting.
Watch the new series of Bluey. That's a good one.
We're back.
Refreshed.
Hi.
Hello. So we're on to one of my favourite topics.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to interview you now.
And I think, to be honest, if anybody right now living in the UAE isn't saying after Eid,
Oh, yeah.
then to be honest, I don't think you live here, because absolutely everyone I'm speaking to, regardless of faith, religion, divide, it's after Eid.
So for anyone who does not live here, who is listening to our mighty little podcast, it is Eid al-Fitr next week, which is the festival that comes to mark the end of Ramadan.
When you can eat during sunlight again.
Yes.
And it is big religious holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the UAE gets very excited, obviously, because it's a lot of time off this year.
So it's either 2 or 3 days off, depending on when Ramadan ends. And so
We don't know yet whether it ends on Sunday or Monday.
yeah, my team are hoping for a Monday finish because that gives them a longer holiday.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping as well. But, we can all hope for things.
It gets them a longer Ramadan and a longer holiday. So that's
Yeah. So during Eid, I wanted to talk a little bit about Eid traditions.
yeah. Can you explain a little something to me, please,
Okay.
about Eid gifting?
Eid gifting, which is everybody's favourite Eid. I actually went around the newsroom before stepping in here to record because I just wanted to ask people. So
She's done some research.
I've done some research. So Eid gifting in Arabic is like Eidiyya. So it's basically the elders give money to the youngers. So I went around the newsroom and just decided to ask a handful of people, about their Eidiyya experience. And bearing in mind, most of the people who work in our newsroom are over 20. Yeah. They were still quite cross that they were off the grandparents list.
Oh, really?
Because they're too old now to get their Eidiyya.
Right.
And one of the journalists, Fatima Mahmoud, who I am naming, says that she still asks for money. So it's generally what happens.
So it's always money?
It's always money. Well, I suppose other families have other traditions, but in most cultures, I think in the Middle East, it's money. And we were talking about how it's always kind of like quite slyly given. Oh. So people get different, you might get different to your cousins if you're much older or younger. So there's sometimes there'll be a disparity in how old you are. So
are we talking hierarchy?
There's a hierarchy. So if you are young, you might get less than those who are older because, you need less money.
Different things to spend
on. You need different things to spend it on. So there's that hierarchy that happens. Then there's the kind of subtleties in how you get the money, because it's not in all families. Some families it's quite explicit. You walk in with your hands open, especially if you're little.
Money, please.
Yeah, money. I haven't fasted a day, but I'm going to get a reward now. It's very sweet. But the idea, like traditionally, a lot of the times it would be kind of folded up into a hand. I actually read online that some families put it into the Quran, and then they kind of like say, here you go. Kul aam wa antum bkhair, which means every year a blessing. Wait, is that what it is? I'm looking at the producer's nodding at me, so yes. And then you get so it's kind of a subtle giving. So it's not meant to be like money.
In my head, it was coming in an envelope.
That's quite Chinese.
I was going to say red envelope, Chinese
I
New Year.
like that.
So that's not how it's coming.
No, it's not. It's kind of like, it's often just like folded up, and then as you shake your uncle's hand or your grandparent's hand, you get a little, it's basically a bribe of some sort.
Absolutely love it. When I was little, if my granny was giving me a little fiver, it would be very slipped over into my hand.
Well, in the UK, like sometimes the post office, they'd open your cards, wouldn't they? If they felt like there was money in there.
Is that the truth?
Yeah, honestly. I had one of my birthday cards it'd been ripped open. And
how much did they think you were getting?
I don't know, it was a fiver, I think. It was a fiver. Then Granny started putting checks in. You can't cash a check.
You can't?
You can't cash a check.
Can you talk to me a little bit about gifts? Is it a thing to give people? Because
it's becoming a thing, right. I think. Like when I was younger, I don't think Eidiyya was generally seen as gifts. I remember obviously like Christmas, you get gifts, but for the Eid, or if you celebrate both, a lot of people I know do, but if it's Eid, it was money. And then you would go, so one of the other, during my little research session in the newsroom, one of the women who works here, Jaman, again, another name drop, she said that her family, so after she got her Eidiyya, her mum would ask her, how much did you get? Who gave you that much? Oh, "Oh, she'd like to know." But then they would go on a little family trip to Toys R Us.
Oh, that's very nice.
And then she would spend her AD on whatever she wanted. Now, me,
Did you have any favourite traditions?
yeah, was just go to the local sweet shop near my grandma's house and basically spend the whole lot on sweets. Like, yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it's and you would go for kind of like the cheaper the sweet because then you get more.
I mean, when we were growing up, to
quantity.
age us, there were literally penny sweets.
Yeah.
And they were these little tiny, they were sweets like about yay big for anyone on the YouTube. And they were 1p. So
1p.
100 for a pound.
Could you imagine if that exists? Do you remember the Woolworths pick and mix?
I remember it so fondly.
I mean, these are things that really are aging us. But I'm going to tell you this funny story. So my husband would, on a Sunday morning, would have to go down to the newsagent on the corner of his road to get the newspaper for his parents.
Mm-hmm.
And as a treat, they would both get like 10p to spend on penny sweets. And my husband would go, he'd always try and get chewing gum, because remember they used to do the chewing gum. And a big shout out to the Sikh man at the end of the road who'd always say, your mum told me you're not allowed chewing gum. Stop him every time.
Please sing it.
Every time.
You stick to a fruit sherbet, mate.
You're not allowed that. You're allowed
the pink ones, the pink and yellow ones, and then the licorice ones. They were the meals I remember.
Do you like licorice all sorts? Oh, that's a big... It was very contentious because, the German family that I betrothed to.
You married into.
God, they eat salted licorice.
As you know, I've become quite invested in Scandi culture. Licorice is everywhere.
We have definitely digressed away from Eid. So the other thing that I want to talk about Eid is it is like traditional, and also kind of like, I think there is a religious meaning behind it, that where you are encouraged to wear new clothes.
Oh.
So when it's Eid, you'll see a lot of people, hopefully, inshallah, like going to their mosque, going everywhere, and they'll all be in brand new garments. Isn't that lovely?
Just kind of
I think it's a kind of like, it's a
fresh,
it's fresh, as obviously for those people who can afford.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is, I think it's, it's a form of celebration. It's a form of showing the community at its best during the festive time.
Oh,
isn't that lovely?
I really love that.
So when I was living in London, you'd go and drive down South London, and when you go past the mosque, like everyone would just be in their lovely new outfits.
Oh, that's so nice. On the topic of Idia, there's a couple of international brands that have partnered with Emirati artists to kind of create designs.
I saw this.
Yeah.
So Amazon have partnered with one of the I can't remember his name.
Abdullah Lutfi.
Yes. And absolutely beautiful.
Lutfi.
Lutfi.
Yeah.
Really beautiful designs on this kind of black and white artistry. As a kind of like giving a gift card, basically. So an Amazon gift card. Probably better sometimes than money for some kids, because my kids just lose money.
Very lovely marketing campaign.
Very clever,
they know
clever
what
marketing.
They've done. They know what they've done.
Yeah, but very pretty as well. And it's nice that they've involved an Emirati artist and something like that.
He is on the autism spectrum and has savant syndrome. And he has said that his inspiration comes from fond childhood memories, saying, I wanted my artwork to capture the joy and togetherness that Eid brings to families, which I think is lovely. He has done this campaign before. He did it first in 2022, which I remember being quite visually quite similar, but really nice. So they've come back to work with him again. And
it's not just Amazon, which are hopping onto the, creating a specific gift collaboration for the end of Ramadan. We have Mawada. You know what? We need to write these names in Arabic. I think I'd read them better.
Yeah, I mean,
Muhtasib, who's collaborated with Harrods. Very fancy.
That is very fancy.
I mean, very fancy.
She's a calligrapher. From Saudi.
Okay, yeah, mirror writing technique, reversed script. How stunning.
Yeah.
And also floral, Islamic floral motifs. Islamic floral motifs will forever remind me of the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Like, I still think of those twirling flowers. And it was about a couple of months ago I went there.
That's so beautiful.
Really lovely.
How are you going to be spending your Eid this year?
Thank you for asking. So first of all, I really hope my daughters aren't listening because they do love our podcast and they listen quite a lot because it's a surprise.
If you're listening, you have to turn off now.
So Daddy, turn off. We're going to Fujairah,
Oh, how
which we haven't
lovely.
been. And I have set the girls, and the family have a task. I told you this task recently.
And I love it.
God, this sounds so lame. We have a task to collect a magnet from of every single emirate.
I love it.
So we have Dubai, Abu Dhabi. We've been to some other emirates and we haven't collected a magnet, but it's a mission statement.
I have a
now.
question for you about this mission. Does driving through them count, or do you have to stop there?
I think as long as we stop and we've acknowledged.
Because
we can't just drive through.
En route to Fujairah, you are going to be going through pretty much every emirate.
It's a long way.
From Abu Dhabi, it is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
the other side of the country.
It's the other side of the country. I'm very excited about the fresh sea air from another side of the UAE.
Yes.
And yeah, family, well, no, the girls have no idea. They're not looking forward to it. Ada has packed her bags though. 5-year-old Ada has packed her bags. She has no idea why. She just has a privilege that she's going to go on holiday because
Good
it's
for her.
holiday.
We always have to, this is how we manifest these things. She's nailed it.
What about yourself?
Myself, I might be working, TBC, but this weekend I am also going away. We are going to stay in the moon retreat in Sharjah, which looks so interesting.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. Bit of stargazing.
Oh, well, you can tell us all about it on next week's episode if we do one. Because
No, next week there won't be an episode. 'cause
Sorry,
it's Eid.
guys. No,
She's teasing.
I got that wrong. Recommendation of the week?
Oh, for me, I'm very excited actually to recommend this week. I am recommending a book called Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams. Have you heard about this?
No.
Right. It's much spoken about. It's essentially a whistleblower book from inside Facebook.
I have heard a lot about this.
So
Oh my
this
gosh.
it's enormous. Facebook have absolutely, so somehow the publishers kept the fact this book was coming out completely locked down. It was so tightly embargoed. It's amazing. It came out, Facebook, it's kind of really exploded. Facebook have completely shut it down. There's basically a gagging order there's a gag on Sarah Wynne Williams. She can't talk about it anymore. She can't promote it.
But
So-
she was very clever, wasn't she?
Yeah, she did all her interviews before.
So she actually interviewed about her book before it came out so that people could run the old interviews.
Yeah.
And now she's completely gagged. She can't speak about it.
Yeah.
What
So
a clever woman.
I'm listening to the audiobook of it. I'm 70% of the way through. It is eye-opening. I have so many thoughts about it. I have so many thoughts about the way that, I mean, obviously this is all her point of view, but the way that, and the person who wrote it, Sarah Williams, she was in the policy team at Facebook. So it basically is a lot of the interactions between Facebook and international governments, often not particularly democratic governments. So that is a real focus of the book, kind of how Facebook worked from her point of view, how Facebook worked with China, how Facebook worked with other regimes around the world, and
Fascinating.
continues to. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I should say that Facebook claimed that they fired her and she was a toxic force in the workplace. But this is amazing. It's the only it's the only senior whistleblower book that's come out of Facebook. There was one a few years ago, but that journalist wasn't in any C-suite meetings, but this person very much was.
They can't hide it. So my recommendation for the week is something I told you about already. I told everyone about this.
I'm going to feign surprise.
The Twister Caught in the Storm. It's a Netflix documentary. It's written and directed by Alexandra Lacey, who's also, I should say that she's actually a good friend of mine.
It's important for transparency.
It's very important for transparency. I'm a good journalist. But 2011, I'm going to set the scene. A huge tornado rips through Joplin in Missouri. It's this very small part of Missouri. And this story follows these high school students. So they were at their graduation. It is unreal. Like, honestly, I'm getting goosebumps. Can you see the hairs all going up? The students are all at their graduation. They have no idea what's about to happen. And there's like the guy who's there who's just saying, this is the beginning. This is the biggest day of your lives. And he has like no idea. Like he's just, he's doing the graduation speech. And then that day, like the whole of the town
How did
gets
we have a
wiped out.
documentary crew there? How did we know?
Watch it. Honestly, watch it. And the story takes such a turn. It takes such a turn. My friend was watching it and I was like, oh, you're not through the second half yet. It's going to take a turn. And she was like, I love a turn. it's a turn.
When I first read the script for today, I thought you were recommending Twisters, the Glenn Powell film, and I was also excited about that. So,
well, it's very. I think what it does as well is it kind of brings those things to life, like these huge, big climate disasters. It brings them to life. It's putting it back in, but through this like really clever storytelling of what happened in 2011. And these things happen a lot in America, I think, or I felt. So I did some like research. They happen in other parts of the world. And one country, I just didn't think, there's a country, Argentina, but they also happen in Bangladesh quite often, tornadoes.
yeah.
And I just never thought of that. Anyway, that's my recommendation.
Can I just very, 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 very quickly backtrack? A couple of weeks ago, I recommended a show called Paradise. I have now finished it, and I would just like to say that it was very gripping TV, but at some points it was like quite terrible. So I don't want it to be an enormous representation of me and my taste.
I love that.
But I did finish it, and I also did kind of love it. But no, going into it, know that you aren't there for like, it's not a premium drama.
So funny. Well, there you go then. One recommendation, one taken away.
One backtrack.
Yeah. That is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. And if you've liked this episode, please like and subscribe to the podcast.
Be sure to follow @The National Arts on social media and catch new episodes of Culture Bites every Thursday. Bye.